to reach out to. Let me see who's texting me.
Am I on now?
Oh God. Okay, let me figure it out. Okay. So guys, we're in a great, great market. I know you don't want to hear me say this anymore. I know you're sick of me. It's January 13th, but in real estate, that's like April 1st. We're in April already, right? Because everything we do today is going to affect what we do coming down the line. So make sure you're doing everything you can right now, even if it's making calls and just building things up and farming and putting together what your marketing plan is for the year, month by month. You know, that's a great opportunity right now, and making sure your CRM is up to date, and making sure you're using it, you know, as a virtual assistant to keep in touch and nurture your clients. So, you know, all these things are really important. We actually spoke about it yesterday on our mastermind, how important it is. If you are not following up with your clients, most likely another agent is. So you have to be diligent, especially now, in following up with your clients. Do not just assume they're sitting around waiting for you or you're going to hear from them when they're ready. You have to be proactive in making sure you're getting in touch with everybody. So huge, 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 huge opportunity right now to make sure you stay on top of your clients. So with that said, it's 10:03 and we will get ready, or get started, I should say. So welcome, good morning. We're already into January 13th. Time is just flying by, I feel already. We're so fortunate to have mild weather, right? So that also helps our market when we're not all snowed in snowstorms. So again, take advantage of that. So resilience is the ability to not only absorb shocks, but to use them to build a competitive advantage. So in our business, right, we get knocked down, we get pushed around, we get kicked, you know, this business is not for the weak of heart, for sure. You know, there's days we feel like we get punched in the stomach, but the beauty is that we are adaptable and we are able to make it through you know, hardest of times in real estate. So that's what sets you apart from anybody else. And that's what sets our business apart from anybody else. So we have to make sure that we stay resilient. Yes, we can, you know, lay down in fetal position, lick our wounds, but we have to get back up fighting just as hard as ever. So don't forget, there's a White Girt community update each week. It's a quick video just to go over what's going on, not only in our company, but within the industry. So it gives great information to keep everybody up to date. And again, video is the new wave, right? Whether we want to accept it or not, it's the way of the future. You know, it's funny that agents are so pushed back on technology so much, and technology is such an important part of our business. Technology is what really drives real estate, right? Technology is such a big part of what drives real estate and what drives our business, yet agents don't want to, you know, change or acclimate or learn new things. And so we really have to be more proactive in becoming more technology driven if we want to be up to date in real estate. Vin sent me a video the other day. I think he linked it through Instagram or something. And it was a agent who actually put together a rap song and did like this video. It was so interesting. Not only for himself and to call him, like he had a great number and he had a great voice and he danced and he went around his new listing. I mean, I'm not expecting people to do that. And I thought it was a little much, you know, because it was pretty long. But again, people are getting more creative with technology. And so we just have to stay on top of that as well. Whatever our comfort zone is, but we have to get out of our comfort zone a little bit to embrace it. So just a reminder, you know, the company is holding weekly call sessions weekly. And the reason why is to help you guys build your business and to help you guys get more comfortable in making calls. Prospecting is real estate 101. Yes, we hate doing it. There's a lot of stuff we hate doing, but it doesn't mean that we don't have to do it. Doesn't mean it's not going to help us grow, right? So we can say, oh, I don't have anything going on. Well, then what are you doing to drive more business? What are you doing to get an appointment this week? So minimally, you should be logging on and committing to one of these, logging on and just listening to the dialogue, listening to what people are doing. The agents are driving the calls. The agents are the ones who are unmuting themselves when they're on the phone with a client, a cold call, someone that they're calling, a neighborhood, whatever the case may be, and you're getting great ideas. And believe me, they get knocked down. It's not like every call goes, as planned, but the thing is they're getting out of their comfort zone and they're doing it and they're building their business. So I know a lot of you, or most of you may know Jessica Exley. She was at RE/MAX over in Morristown. She had a great year last year. And she joined Weichert in Morristown just last week. I think the paperwork went through on Monday. She was on Tuesday's call session at 4:00. And she got 2 listing appointments by making phone calls. Okay. So she thought, she got on and she's like, this alone, she couldn't believe that the whole company was on, that presidents were on, regional vice presidents were on, managers were on, everybody was there supporting everyone. And, I think you guys take for granted sometimes all of the support that you have and all of the resources and tools that we give you. And you don't make the time to do things that other people who come in say, wow, this is amazing. So I wanted to share that with you. Again, at least go on and just listen in the background. You don't have to unmute yourself and you don't have to take your camera off. I do, but you don't. So make sure that you're taking advantage of what we have to build your business, to make you successful each and every day and each and every week. It's really, really important. So commit to 1 call session a week. Start out by just joining and listening to see what it's all about. Okay. And realize that this is not something that every company is doing for their agents, and we're doing it for you. Okay. We're not doing it for us. We're doing it to help you, to support you, to show you that we're here to help and, work on your dialogue, work on the ability to do more prospecting. So our birthdays this week are Brenda Lee is coming up in a few days. So happy birthday, Brenda. And then anniversaries, Niren's here a year, Christina Calvarudis is here a year, and Casey Stabile is here a year. I can't believe how quickly time goes. So congratulations to all. And as you notice, Christina Calvarudis, the name just slides off my lips now. I'm getting more and more used to that name. So I'm going to start off today by just jumping right in with Anthony and getting into the mortgage report, because, that's what's a big part of what's driving our market right now. The ability for, such great interest rates. It's like free money out there. Who wouldn't take advantage of this in this market? So it's a big portion of what's driving our market. So Anthony, welcome this morning.
Everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I mentioned this a little bit last week. It's just, the market kind of getting a little crazy and volatile. And then, a lot of interesting stuff happening last week. It was all over the headlines and news. And we saw the 10-year Treasury actually increase to over 1%, which is the highest level we've seen since March. And what has that done? It kind of pushed rates up into a higher range. So they have ticked up on us a bit. And moving into early part of this week, they've also kind of ticked up some more too as well. So, we're kind of off some of those lowest levels we've seen. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still in insanely low ranges, but, they're off a little bit, and we'll kind of see how that progresses. The last day or so, things have kind of, quasi-stabilized, but we'll see how things kind of go. But it was a very interesting week, as we all saw across the headlines and news and stuff like that. And as you could see, that plays a big part and role as far as where the rates are kind of dictated and potentially where they're going. We had talked a little bit about debt ratio too as well. I think it was last week or the week before, and they put something together kind of just to kind of dictate and give you a little bit of affordability and assuming if rates change, how that affects borrowers' qualifications. So, we're using that 43% typical Fannie Mae kind of debt ratio as a barometer. If someone had 300 in monthly debts and an income of around $5,000 a month, taxes and insurance of 25% of the monthly mortgage payment, there's your kind of breakdown there. At 5,000 monthly income at a 43% debt to income ratio, that's a 2,150 all in principal, interest, tax, insurance, and all debts payment. Minus 300 monthly debts gives you an 1,850 principal and interest, taxes, and insurance. That's that pity payment we talked about a week or so ago also. Now at 75% allowed, 1,400 in principal and interest, rounded up that way. So just note, a pity is the principal, interest, taxes, insurance, included in the mortgage insurance as well. And the P&I, a lot of people talk about, is the principal and interest also.
So Anthony, what is that in a dollar amount or a dollar volume? You know, if you're looking at a house, what price point would you be looking in? Is that something easy for you to
As
share?
far as like a monthly payment, you mean?
No, what, like, if are they looking at a $300,000 house? Are they looking at a 350? Like what? As
You
far
mean
as,
like
yes, that monthly payment, that
that
$1,400,
monthly
what would
payment,
that
right?
bring?
I mean, I would probably, it all depends obviously on the taxes. That plays a big role. But I would probably say somewhere in that 3,000 or so range, give or take, as far as where it is. And that's going to be atypical in our marketplace, obviously. If we go a little west, a little bit further, some of the prices might come down a little bit. But I feel like with the way the last year's been and the way this year's going to go, those homes in the twos are virtually non-existent anymore. Everything's going to be like 350 or, I was talking to an agent yesterday where they have a buyer that was going in 25,000 below ask with multiple offers. It's just non-realistic, that if anything, you might want to look at $25,000 below to know that you're going to do that and have to come back up the other way again, so there are still people out there that have this false hope of kind of thinking they're going to renegotiate, that it's a buyer's market, which is, it's complete opposite side of that. And it has been, and it will be, and they're going to be on the losing side. And then the agent and I were discussing, like, what's the plan, right? Do you cut them loose? How much time do you spend? Where do you drive them around to? Do they run around and kind of do their own driving around and exploring? Because I mean, at that point, you need to find a buyer that's going to be willing to listen to you and work with you and understand what your dialogue is. And, you're only trying to protect them. So that's a real big challenge right now in this market. A lot of people are getting a lot of influence from family and friends, from even experiences from many years ago. And many years ago, even though it's 2 years ago, just doesn't apply to the current market right now. And you can find yourself in a challenged position that way.
Yeah, for sure.
So $1,400 in principal and interest is allowed.
Here we go. Here we go. I asked a question prior to.
Right. So at 3%, 1,400 will qualify for a $332,000 loan. If rates were at 4, you're looking at a 293 loan. So look at that. That's a $39,000 reduction, just in price of home. Or at 3%, the purchaser qualifies for 13% more house, to give you a breakdown of a percentage. So it's kind of pretty dramatic. And I mean, we think that we're below that 3% window right now, and we have been for a little bit of time, the COVID thing. But we were at 4%, call it a year ago, or close to it. So it can be very dramatic very quickly.
And, again, clients can relate more when you break it down here, right? So if you're just saying 13% more, well, what does that mean to them? They need to hear the numbers, right? So you need to be able to share with them numbers like this, because this is how it resonates with me more than when, it's shared with this number, that number, or percentages. I want to know exactly what that number means to me. So it's great that we can break that down for them.
Yeah, having visuals are extremely important, and we've provided a lot of data and slides, and Stephanie even uploaded a lot of stuff into KV Core and stuff for that, for like leave behinds and emails out to people. So a lot of people are really visual. They can't understand it when you talk to them. Even in my world, I put a lot of stuff in email. It becomes lengthy, but I always refer back to it, because having that conversation with one of the parties involved, and then they got to try to reiterate that to the other party involved, and then they're like calling me back going, "What? Can you explain that again?" It's easier to have a lot of that stuff kind of completely together. So
yeah, for sure, for sure. So here's our trivia question of the week, guys. Pay attention.
So I know we got a busy day, so we have a trivia question this week. According to a survey by Homes.com, 20% of homeowners cited working remotely as a factor in purchasing a home last year. How many indicated that they would move if given the chance to work remotely? So A, 10%, B, 45%.
I'll bet 45.
B.
No, B.
B.
Carol says
And
B.
B.
who got the cheat sheets today? That's what I want to know.
That's
The
huge,
answer is B. It's
45%. That's almost half the
45%.
people.
Unbelievable. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I know I spoke to someone who lives in Pasadena, California recently, and a lot of their homes were already ridiculous. I saw his home back 4 years ago when I went to the Rose Bowl. And at that time, he had just bought it. It was a ranch, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, nothing great, like a regular ranch here, no great big property, right, in the neighborhood. And he had paid 1.3 million for it at that time. Now they're going in almost at $2 million. And so what's happening, because in California, they're all working from home, they're selling it, taking their money and going and renting or going further away and just taking advantage of being able to pocket that money right now until they see what happens. So again, all over, the United States, everybody's in the same boat as us. Obviously, it varies a little bit here and there, but it's just really, really, really crazy. So thank you, Anthony. Anyone have any questions for Anthony?
No, but I do, or just a statement. But what do you think is going to happen to all these big office buildings in these places if they have all their people
Question.
working at home? They don't need the buildings. Even Weichert, I mean, they don't need that big building anymore. Don't you think that next year, the end of this year, we're going to see a lot of for rent signs on these big buildings?
100%, and that's what they're predicting, that
you
there's
will,
these
Carol.
big commercial buildings are not going to be around. You're going to see a lot of vacant buildings, a lot of vacant buildings.
I
Right now,
personally
there's,
think, I personally think what you're gonna see is some of these commercial buildings, all of a sudden, they're gonna get knocked down and you're gonna see condos or
Mhm.
apartments, one of the two. Just be very prepared for that over the next like 2 to 3 years. All of a sudden, you're gonna see that behemoth of an office building. The landlord's gonna go, you know what? I could start charging $2,500 to $3,000 a month in rent, like Signature down the street from us. And you're gonna see mega amounts of them just pop up all over the place.
No.
There's
Right
another
now,
condo.
in
there's
Morris
another-
County, there's over 2 million square feet of office space vacant right now.
Yeah.
Right.
maybe.
There's another condo community coming on Johnson Road. They just.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah,
it's a
Lennar is building it. Missy, we should see if we could get some information on that so that, we can get a heads up on what's happening with that community on American Road. It's going to be,
On
that should-
American
Yeah,
Road
does
or on
any-
Johnson Road?
It was on Johnson Road.
Johnson
Well,
Road.
they're also building on American Way.
Yeah,
What are they, anybody know what they're building there?
it's Lennar, it's condos and
Condos.
towns.
Okay, so
What we
American
really
Way
need
and
is-
Johnson Road. What do you
yeah.
want me to look into?
Does anyone know what's coming into Pine Plaza on Route 10?
There's condos going in there too.
So
Condos. in-
exactly what Anthony's saying, all of these
Yep.
buildings, so that's what you're gonna see here on Johnson Road.
gonna be
I heard it's
housing.
gonna be apartments,
Housing.
I believe, on Johnson. And I'll look into American Way and, possibly Pine Plaza, but that's what they're building now, right? This is where these investors and these builders are now have the opportunity to buy these commercial properties at a really, I guess, reduced rate than they would have in years past, because they've been sitting so long and nobody's going to utilize them in a commercial aspect anymore. And so now they're going to become, condos or rentals just because it makes more
It's
sense
on Route 10.
financially.
The place on Route 10 by CVS, those are going to be rentals, not for sale. They're going to be rentals above the commercial space down below. Like if there's going to be like storefronts down below, I went on a listing appointment there, so for the rentals, they're not going to be for sale.
Oh, that's good. Right. I think what I'm hearing even here on Johnson is going to be rentals. That
Yeah.
rentals. are
Everybody's
more-
building
right.
rentals now. Everybody's into the rental thing because it's steady income as opposed to a one-shot deal.
Absolutely, right. I agree, right? For the passive income in the, moving along in life versus just renovating it or doing whatever they're doing and selling it, collecting their money and moving on. So
And old people will go into a rental if they want to, if they can't find a senior housing, they'll go into a rental and they sell their house. And if they sell their house for X amount of money, they can live in a rental for another 10 years before they croak.
100%.
Carol, is that you?
All right.
The two buildings below us on 10 East have applied to the town for rent, to convert them into rentals.
Mhm.
The two empty office buildings.
On the
And I
news
also heard
recently-
that the ones on Johnson Road will be managed by Weichert, the ones that are going in. I don't have a lot of information on it, but I'm just starting to hear different information about the ones on Johnson.
We're on
Road.
Johnson Road,
Actually, it's part of our campus.
the
So
white
there'll be
building.
buildings, and I don't know for 100%. That's why I really don't want to talk about it because I haven't heard
Oh.
officially. But you know, again, Jim is always looking in the future. And so knowing that a lot of these buildings and these campuses, you know, buildings will not be utilized like they have in the past because now they've been able to work remotely for almost a year, you know, you're going to see some other things coming up. I don't want to be a spoiler alert.
Missy, recently on the news, Mayor de Blasio was talking about a program to reinvigorate Midtown in New York and turning office space into residential condominiums.
Right, right.
They need low income housing and senior housing. That's what they need.
Yes.
More of that.
Well, you know, that in New Jersey, you have to do that when you're building any communities, right? So I don't know about New York, but in New Jersey, you have to have a section that is low income or a portion of it, a percentage of it. So
Same
So
thing.
while we're talking about this, let's get into the forecast for real estate actually for 2021, right? So this was done in the end of 2020 as a forecast moving forward for 2021. So I thought this was very interesting. I don't know who drew on my screen, but I don't know how to get it off either. So you guys can do a lot when you don't know what you're doing. I can tell you that if I asked you to do it, you would never know how to do it. But so pending contracts are up 20%.
That was me, and don't ask me to do it again because I have no idea what I did.
I
I'm
knew I
sorry.
saw Mark, so I know who it was, Mark. I know who it was. I just wasn't going to throw you under the bus right away, but
I was
yes.
trying to do something else, and that happened. Sorry.
I know, it's so funny. So pending contracts are up 20%. Mortgage purchase applications are up 27%. Lockbox opening, as per Century Lock, which is not, you know, the super that we use in our area, is 21%. Buyer traffic is up 32%, and mortgage rates are at a record low of 2.77%. And this was as of the end of the year of 2020. So months of inventory at an all-time low. So look at this. It started in January of 2010, this chart, and then went till October of 2020. I mean, that's just amazing, right? Really amazing. As far as the inventory goes, like I remember when we had 12 to 19 months of absorption rate in towns. I remember that clearly when I used to do my absorption rate chart for sellers when I was going on a listing appointment. So to be at 1% and 1.5% or under 1% is just really amazing. It's something I never thought I would see. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way, who have been in markets where we had a crazy, tremendous amount of inventory, 190, 200, you know, homes on the market.
Yeah.
Our GDP growth is minus 2.7% and looking to grow 3.5% in 2021 and 3% in 2022. Unemployment rate obviously is looking to decrease. We're at 6.9% in 2020, 6.2 in 2021, and 5% in 2022. Inflation is going to rise. So again, this is a nice chart to have just for an idea when people are asking you, buyers and sellers are asking you, what are they predicting, you know, in the next year or two, because we don't know. So, but we've been hearing, right, all signs are in a positive direction, especially in real estate. And this is showing us that that's what they're predicting moving forward. 30-year fixed rate mortgage. This is, again, another question a lot of people have asked me. I heard it's going to go up to 5 this year. Have you heard this? Have you heard that? So I've not heard any of those things, but this is what I've been hearing. So 2.83 in 2020, 3% in 2021, and 3.25 in 2022. Again, great historically low interest rates, even moving forward in the next 2 years. Federal fund rate, home price change year over year. Okay, so that's really interesting, right? So 15.5%. And again, this is nationally, right? So it's not specific to us, but we've seen a 5 to 10% increase in our market. So 15.5% in 2020, 8% more in 2021, and 5.5% more in 2022. So anyone who thinks, oh gosh, I want to wait, what are they waiting for, right? And again, if you're selling a house and buying, it's all a wash. If you're selling and buying in a down market, you're getting less and you're buying for less. If you're selling or buying in a high market, you're selling for more and you're buying for more, right? So anyone who's trading off, you know, it's a wash. It always has been, it always will be. Anybody who's looking for the first time, just share with them that waiting is only going to cost them more money. It's going to go up a little tiny bit in interest, and the appreciation it's going to continue to appreciate the next few years. Housing starts in the millions, and then percentage working from home. So again, we were just talking about this. Right now, there's an average of 21% working from home in 2020. It'll go down to about 18% this year, not a lot, and then 12% moving forward. So
What is housing starts?
what is housing starts?
Yes.
I take that as that's the inventory, right? How many homes we're going to be seeing coming on the market. So as you can see, the inventory is not going to grow in the next few years. We're going to be in
That's-
a
So that's not new
deficit.
That's
houses
new,
then.
that's new construction, housing starts.
Oh, it's new construction?
It is,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, thank you, Eric. I took it as that what was coming on the market, because I know we're going to be staying. Again, that's something they don't have on this chart, but we're still not going to be seeing a lot of inventory moving forward, right? So that's not going to change, which is why you're seeing consistency in all these numbers year after year after year, okay? Consensus view of work from home. So a percentage of workers working from home. So in 2019, it was about 6%, and then 2020 went up to 21. And again, it's going to slightly decrease in the next 2 years, but more and more people are going to continue to work from home because it works. People are still able to do it efficiently, and so it makes more sense. Some of the top markets, prospective markets in COVID, and this is for 2021 to 2022. I find it funny, right? But Boise, Idaho, right, has become one of the, and I've heard this for the last 2 years, one of the hottest markets around. Charleston, Charleston, South Carolina, Georgia, Dallas and Fort Worth, Arlington area, Texas, Arizona, Utah, Wisconsin, Indiana. So places that we didn't realize, right, think we would see as top prospective markets, right? So very interesting where people are going. And then just some stats for home buying and real estate professionals. So 89% of all buyers purchased their home through an agent, as did 92% of buyers 39 years and younger. 10% of buyers 74 and older purchased their home directly from the previous owner. Okay. Buyers from all generations primarily wanted their agent's help to find the right home to purchase at 52%. Buyers were also looking for help to negotiate the terms of sale and to help with price negotiations. The oldest and youngest age groups, 74 and older and 22 to 29, were more likely to want their agent to help with paperwork. Help understanding the purchase process was most beneficial to buyers 29 years and younger at 85%, and for buyers 30 to 39 years at 69%. Referrals remain the primary method most buyers found their real estate agent. Referrals by friends, neighbors, or relatives were higher among younger buyers, such as 29 years and younger, so that was 51%, and 30 to 39, which was 45% compared to older generation. Buyers 29 and younger were also more likely to have inquired about a specific property viewed online. And when choosing an agent to work with, an agent that was honest and trustworthy was the most important factor for buyers. An agent's reputation was more important to older generation as compared to younger generations. 3/4 of buyers interviewed only one real estate agent during their home search. And 9 in 10 buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agent to others, also consistent across all generations. So again, you really have to continue to stay in touch with your clients. That's what it's telling me, for referrals being the biggest portion of how agents were able to grow their business, is staying in touch with your clients, right? Keeping in touch. Make sure you do touches at least monthly. You should have at least 12 touches to your sphere and past client moving forward, because that's really, really huge. So office news. I have a question for all of you. Can you give out an appraisal or home inspection if asked by another agent or client? What do you think that answer is?
No, no.
No, exactly, no. So it is not your property to give out. It is the property of the purchase person who paid for it. So the buyer who paid for the home inspection, that's their property. It is not yours because now you're a listing agent and you have it in your email and you have a new buyer coming in and they want to see what happened prior to, right? You cannot give that information out. But what you should be doing is, we know what a latent defect is, right? A latent defect is something that we can't see when we walk into the house. It's not visible to us, or maybe we're not an expert on that, right? So we're not able to speak about it educationally or help our clients with that. So once a home inspector comes in and provides us with information about a latent defect, right? Because they're able to find it or they know more about it, that becomes a material defect. And that's something that then should be put on the seller's disclosure, okay? You have to protect yourself and you have to protect your seller. Your seller might not think that that's protecting them, right? But by you asking them to put something out there, now, you know, again, that it could be a gray area, right? Because if the home inspector sees something that may be structurally wrong, but they don't have a structural inspector or engineer come out to take a look at it, right? Maybe the buyer automatically backs out and doesn't have additional inspections. Well, is that home inspector an expert in structural inspection, right? So like there's a few gray areas. I would say mold would be something that they can easily detect, and that would be something. Any water damage, anything like that you want to disclose, right? You want to make sure that people know ahead of time, or you have your client address it, your seller address it, right? So what is happening in our day and age now? What happens today? If you provide a home inspection or an appraisal to another person, what I would say, first of all, is if I was asked by another agent, I would say, you know what, why don't you ask your attorney to see if he can get it from my attorney? I would not get involved in all. And if the attorney says no, then the answer is no, and that's it, right? I wouldn't provide any of that. That's number one. Number two, and it's not because I'm hiding anything, it's because legally I'm not allowed to give that information out. So that's number one. Number two, when a client gets, so this is a story, I just want to share with you a story of why a brokerage in our area is being sued right now. The brokerage is being sued because what happened was a client, there was a buyer on a home and it fell apart due to home inspection. So you have to sort of follow me on this. So what buyer one backed out because of home inspection. And on home inspection, there was some structural issue in the house and it was never disclosed. So buyer two comes in right after it comes back on the market, you know, comes in with a nice offer, goes through the whole process and asks for a copy of the home inspection report. The agent of the seller provides buyer one's home inspection report. The buyer, the buyer two now knows what buyer one's name is. Buyer two goes onto Facebook or social media and starts looking up that person's name, then friends them on Facebook, okay, friends them on social media, and then has a conversation with them. Hi, I'd love to talk to you about what happened during your, you know, you were going to purchase 123 Main Street. I'd love to see what happened. And then had a conversation with that buyer, and the buyer told them why they backed out, and that now the buyer two, who has already closed on the property, okay, is already closed on the property, is now suing the brokerage because it was never disclosed what came up in buyer's one's report.
Yeah.
So everybody understand that is a little confusing, but because we have so much access now, right, to social media and finding people, and you know how good you are at researching people and information. Everybody's doing that now. So they're actually going on, friending people, and I'm hearing this more and more and more. They get one little piece from the attorney of a previous home inspection report. They can see that name under there. They're calling that home inspector. They're calling the buyer. They're reaching out to everybody and saying, what happened? Tell me what happened. And it's just becoming, so you really have to be more diligent than ever in what you're giving out, the information, and what comes up on home inspection. If it falls apart, having your client disclose it, okay? So make sure you're doing, and again, because not only is that brokerage getting sued, but that seller, right? The seller is getting sued. And so that's what you have to explain to them, what happens in this day and age with access to, being able to research people so easily on the internet, and then people will call and find out exactly what happened. So if you have,
Missy,
yes,
I have a question about that. So buyer one, their inspector found something wrong enough with the structural component of the house and put that in his report, and maybe even buyer one got a structural engineer in. Why didn't buyer two, why didn't their inspector find anything wrong with the structural integrity of the house?
I don't know the whole background. I've heard this from secondhand from an agent in our office who just shared with me and said, I just think this is a great, they heard it from someone in that office and they're like, I thought it was a great thing to bring up in the meeting, because they didn't know the answer to whether they can give out a home inspection or appraisal, because they feel like if they have a good relationship with an agent, they're like, okay, sure, here, like they didn't know what that answer was. So I don't know why it came, why something came up in one and it didn't come up in the other. But
well, buyer two asking for it, there's nothing, I mean, you can ask for anything you want. Buyer one should never have given that out.
well, the buyer should
the
have,
home
but the buyer
inspector,
didn't give it out. It was the
the home
agent who gave
inspector
it out.
shouldn't have.
No, the home inspector didn't either. Remember, it was by then, the first people are out and the second buyer doesn't know who the first agent was who represented the buyer or who the buyer was, right? So the second agent who came in representing the buyer said, can you share with me that home inspection
right.
report?
And again, the second agent can ask anything they want. It was just wrong on the first people's thing to give it out.
Oh, 100%. Yes, I agree. It wasn't, they shouldn't have done that. And that's why now, because first of all, they gave it out, they made themselves liable. And because
Right.
they didn't disclose something that was in there, that now they know what it is because they have a copy of that report.
Right.
You understand? So
yeah,
so that's why it's like so confusing. And again, I don't know the exact, maybe it wasn't a structural, maybe it was water that wasn't identified, right? It could be anything. But whatever it was is a huge problem in the house that they did not know.
The other thing.
Missy, I have a
Well,
question.
With a home inspection, there's so much that the inspector thinks is wrong. You can't possibly put all of that on the seller's disclosure if you disagree.
No,
there's-
no. But again, if it's something like a crawl space that has water in the corner, right? Or something,
Mhm.
water's coming in and it's damp on one side. That's something you want. I used to tell my clients when I would sit there and hand them the seller's disclosure, I would say, here's your homework. I really want you to take time to fill this out and please disclose. What does that mean? It means if you had water in your basement 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or you had a leak in your bathroom 5 years ago, and even if it's fixed, what happens is if there's any trace of that when the home inspector comes, they're going to look at that and say, oh, do you have a copy of the seller's disclosure? They're going to go through it real quickly. And if they see that there's nothing in there, then what happens? And then now you're trying to backtrack as a listing agent and say, oh, you know what? They just mentioned to me, I called them up and they said it was from 5 years ago. Now they're going to say, well, what else are they hiding? So to me, this is exactly how I explained it to them. And I'd say, so you don't want people to have that perception that you're hiding things. If you disclose more, then they're not going to feel that way. They're going to be like, oh, here it is in the home inspection. 5 years ago, they had water. That's why I see that. Next. And they move on, right? So then it doesn't become an issue. So again, you can't list every single thing that's wrong with your house. My toilet bowl handle doesn't work. I don't know, like things, but anything that obviously is a safe or, that's, you have to provide a safe and sound home. And so that you have to make sure that any of those issues are addressed or you're, disclosing them ahead of time, because the more you disclose, honestly, the better everybody feels, right? Everybody feels better when they see more stuff versus less stuff on the seller's disclosure.
Missy, I have a question. I have an issue that it actually happened to me. So they did their inspection and they said there was a structural problem. We hired the structural engineer and they were like, no, absolutely not. Yes. What happened was the house was built on pillars and that was the structure. That was what was supporting the house. What somebody did at some point was take concrete block and just kind of fill it in because they wanted the basement area like enclosed. And so they were first time home buyer. I had the seller. And we had the engineer come out. He came out and said, no, there's nothing wrong with the structure of this home. That deal fell apart. The house had to go back on the market. Do you disclose? Because nothing was wrong. What are you disclosing?
Well, no, if there's nothing wrong. they
I
had an
did
expert out,
mention, right, they had the expert out and nothing was wrong.
Then you don't, because that's really, then there's nothing to disclose.
Right.
Right?
That's what, okay. Yeah.
Yes. So there's nothing to disclose at that point. But if the structural inspector comes out and says, yes, there is, and then the buyer is back out because they don't want to deal with it and they just have cold feet at that point, even if the sellers say, I'm going to take care of it, whatever the case may be, now it has to be disclosed.
Okay.
Misty, the other thing is, in the situation you were talking about with the one buyer and buyer two, buyer one owns that report. So by giving it to buyer two, you're actually stealing property from them and they could sue you for the $800.
100%. Absolutely.
So that's another example of you just can't give it out to anybody.
You can't. Yeah, it's not yours to give.
Even
That's the
if
only way
it
to
just
think about it,
says
not
the
yours to
house
give.
is perfect.
Right.
Missy,
not yours to give.
Missy, I wonder how many agents tell their sellers after something goes wrong and they lose a buyer. I wonder how many agents tell their sellers to fill out the seller's disclosure again to put in that what was wrong.
I think, well, probably not a lot, right? But
Right.
number one, and number two, I think when you do tell them, right, now they think that you're against them,
Yes.
right? They don't want to disclose that.
Right. Even though their deal fell apart, and even if you're the buyer, even if you're the agent for buyer one that falls apart, and you tell the other agent, hey, you got to tell your seller, put it in their seller's disclosure, they'll laugh at you.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why, at least if you have a story to tell them, this is the reason why. I understand what you're thinking, but I want to protect you. And this is the reason why. You know what I'm saying? Because it has come up in the past. If this new buyer gets in touch with that old buyer and people find ways to find out who it is, I'm not going to disclose who it is. I don't have to disclose and I'm not going to. But if they find out, because real estate is a very small world, we all know that once we're in it. Once that buyer finds out anything, then they have the ammunition to come after you. And I don't want anyone to come after you once you sell. I want you to move on and just, and be able to move on from this house. So that's the problem. And yes, and sellers will hide stuff from us. I remember having a listing. I went in, they had their own inspection prior to. They didn't share anything with me. They said, we're going to have a pre-inspection. They did it all on their own. They're very secretive, obviously. I was walking around my neighborhood and I saw a neighbor and she came out and she said, do you know what the name? She goes, you know what? I'm so glad I saw you. I want to know, because by now my sign was up on the front lawn. She goes, I want to know what the name of that mold remediation company that so-and-so used, that your clients use. I was like, mold remediate? They had gotten the inspection. They had gotten the mold remediated. They didn't tell me anything because they knew once they told me, things had to be disclosed. So people are so I agree with you, Lonnie. People are very, very, very sneaky when they know and they don't want things to come out. But again, it's just about protecting you and protecting yourself. And because of where we are.
Missy, I'm sorry, that somebody has an issue, a seller has an issue, they have it fixed, they don't put it on the property disclosure because they had it fixed, they sell their house, and then 5 years later, the problem comes back. The new owners call the plumber and the plumber says, I was here 6 years ago and I corrected that issue. So it's a small world and there's so many ways that it could come back and bite you.
It does all the time, Lori. It does all the time. I'm telling you, real estate is so small, guys. It's so small. You know that. It's almost incestuous, I always say, right? Because it's like, who knows? You'll be talking to someone and you'll find out about a client you were working with. Like, it's just so crazy how everything runs together in real estate. It's just unbelievable. So again, I'm just telling you these things just because when shared with me, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page and I just want to make sure you're protected. And again, you protect your clients. And maybe this is a conversation that starts when you're at the listing appointment, right? Not once something goes wrong in home inspection. So again, the more we prepare them and the more expectations we set up, the better it is. And of course, everybody wants to protect themselves when it comes to legal, especially in the state of New Jersey. Everybody should want to protect themselves.
Okay, I need to ask one question. I sold a house 5 years ago. They had a home inspection. Whatever was on the first home inspection that was corrected, are they legal? Like, do they have to figure out if they don't have it? Do they have to claim what was fixed that they didn't fix? You know, they bought the house and whatever was done before them, and there could be a record of a seller's disclosure somewhere, but they didn't do that. When they got their house, they remediated their basement side. Are they responsible to report whatever was on the original one when they bought?
Yeah,
No.
if they knew about it.
Well, right, yeah. So what,
Yeah,
well,
but
so-
that's, you know,
yeah, what I say to them also about that is when I'm going through that whole spiel with them about filling out the seller's disclosure and disclose, I also say, if you don't know something, so for instance, if when you were buying the house, your client, your seller said at the time, I think the roof is about 15 years old, but you never
Right.
verified that, then don't put, now it's 4 years later that the roof is 19 years, because you don't know that for sure.
right, okay,
No.
okay.
So I feel like you don't disclose things that are hearsay, so to say, you
Mhm.
know, but you have to know it for sure. It has to be something that you've done.
Yeah,
that
I
you've
tell
taken
them
care of.
to,
Or else you
you
can
know,
put
fill it out
unknown.
to the best of your knowledge. If you don't know it, you don't know it. Don't guess.
Don't guess, exactly, because once you guess, then that becomes, now
Law.
they think that that's your knowledge and they believe that that's accurate information. And if it's not accurate, then I don't
Right.
believe, you know, then you're going to be responsible.
Right, okay, okay.
Yeah, 100%. So, so anyway, what is Zillow up to now? I don't know if everybody read the message that we got from Weicker. You know, Zillow's always in our pocket. We think our clients are always in our pocket. Zillow's right there behind them. It's disgusting. And we keep, you know, I guess we say we keep allowing it, but I don't know what we can do at this point. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to move my thing here. So, Zillow rental changes. They've been talking about this probably for the last 6 months, but have finally went into effect yesterday. So Zillow is rolled out new changes affecting all rental listings. Starting yesterday, the change is a shift from having your rental listings on Zillow.com for free to a pay per model, a listing model. So you no longer can list rentals on Zillow or Trulia, since they are, you know, partners, unless you pay per day, okay? So starting in January, all rental listings posted on Zillow will now require the agent to pay a daily fee. The new pay per listing model is as follows. All rental listings posted on Zillow will now require the agent to enter into a rental agreement with Zillow and pay a daily fee. The rental agreement will be between Zillow and the agent. Based on Weickert's ongoing relationship, a discounted rate is available for all Weickert agents. So as of January 1st, agents signing up for the rental agreement will pay $1.20 per day per listing fee. So note that Zillow quotes that this is nearly 50% off the market price that you will be paying because you're a Weickert agent. When changes will take place, starting on January 12th, any agent has not entered into an agreement with Zillow will have their listings removed from all Zillow-owned sites, Zillow, Trulia, StreetEasy, and HotPads. So Zillow owns all those sites. Only agents' listings that have been set up directly through Zillow will continue to be posted per the fee structure outlined above. So basically, they want to make sure they have your credit card information. They want to make sure they have all your information so that they can charge you appropriately or accordingly when you put your rental listing up. So please read out, and this is how you can get in touch with Zillow if you want to make sure that your rental listings are still marketed on Zillow and those other websites that they've listed. Rental feed inquiries at zillowgroup.com. Okay, and I believe you can
It's
also.
just another coffin nail, isn't it, Missy?
It's
I mean,
just, yeah, it's
they're
just.
giving us another excuse not to work. I mean, they're just encouraging us to just go exclusively and just use social media.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
It's just unbelievable. So it's
I wouldn't
always
give my-
something. They're always constantly, instead of working with us as partners, they are against us, right? So I love the way Catherine Adcock said the best last year. She explained when she sits in front of a seller, she says, Zillow and I are not partners. She told them, right? That's how she tells her clients, because they have to understand when something goes wrong on Zillow, when feeds aren't correct, when these things aren't happening the way that the client assumes they're going to happen. And let me tell you something, you know, our clients are on those websites from the moment they sign that paperwork, right? Looking at every single thing that's written in there. They look at that with a fine tooth comb. You know, what that they have to understand that we have very little that we can do because it's a third party company. So we really have to get that point across at our listing appointments. Tell them, you know, I always used to say Zillow is my pet peeve. And they say, why? And I say, this is why. And I explain to them that I understand it's number one with buyers and sellers, but it provides so much inaccurate information. And so
Does
this
this
is
mean-
the conversation I had.
Does this mean that basically what's going to end up happening is next year they're going to charge us for our for sale listings next,
It could
even though
very
they
much
get it for
be.
free? Even though they get it for free through IDX, they're going to now charge us for it, right?
Yep. So Catherine, what they're saying, the reason why they're charging now for rental listings is because now they have all these features to facilitate the renter. So they have applications online, they have ways for them to get their credit report or, you know, their tenant report. All of that is now incorporated. And so that's really what you're paying for. You're paying for their like sort of property management system, so to say, that they have built into rentals, where the client has everything they have access to everything the tenant does right there, so that you're getting a full, when you get a tenant application, you're getting everything through them. You can request that they fill out everything, and everything is done through their system. So that's what
I understand, but that means they're going to do the same thing for regular.
You're probably
real estate.
right. You are probably
They are.
100% right.
I mean, they've already started breaking out in other markets, not New Jersey yet, but they're breaking out in other markets, acting like brokers and testing the waters. And it seems to me like this is like a perfect segue for them to say, look, we provide a very valuable thing and your money isn't count, your current pay structure really isn't making us enough money anymore for our investors. So we have to figure out new ways to constantly make money. And that's what they're doing.
100%.
They're going to take it over.
So they're taking over, and they've been for years, and we keep allowing it, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, right? I mean, it just never ends. So but basically, we're going out, we're building relationships, we're establishing, you know, a listing agreement with our clients, or we're finding our buyers outside, you know, in open houses or through referrals or whatever. And we're the ones that are generating the business for ourselves. And then we're bringing it to them. We're literally handing them to them. We're like, we've done all this work for you. Here you go. And by the way, let's pay you some money too, so we can get our clients back. I mean, that's basically what's happening.
Can
So
we choose not to put our syndicate to Zillow and just everyone else?
Everybody would have to do that. So the whole company and all the other brokerages would be, right? So if Weicker decided to take them down, then agents would say, well, that's not fair because other brokerages are still out there and they're getting those opportunities that we're not getting. So it would have to be as an industry that we all finally said we're done and take all our stuff down and not use that anymore.
Some
That's what we have to
brokerages
do.
have taken down.
I'm all
Some
for it.
brokerages
When
have
can
done
we
it.
do that? I'm all for that, Missy.
Well, some brokerages already have done it.
Yeah.
And some multiple listing services have done it. It's just not in our area. We haven't done it.
Right. Yep. So that's what's going to have to happen. We handed them our listings on a silver platter. What was it now, like 10 years ago? And it's just gone downhill ever since then. Just horrible. So that, I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. So Stephanie.
Morning. Good morning, everyone. So I only have actually 2 slides today. I just wanted to really quickly just go over a couple of things, some activities that you guys can be working on, because I know, as Missy already spoke about, we're very low on listings. All of the MTSs and the other offices are also sharing these activities with their associates. So just a couple of things, not all just about my Weicker, you know. The first thing is you can create a Seller Squeeze page, post and boost on Facebook. The second thing is more of a throwing some money at it a little bit, sending out a I have buyers postcard to a couple of streets in your neighborhood, not breaking the bank, just maybe a couple of streets, you never know. Maybe somebody in your neighborhood is on the fence and maybe they just need a little push to contact you and get their house out there. And also, we're still having open houses. There are some listings out there that are having open houses. Gloria LaForgia has open houses every weekend, and she can't be in 2 places or 3 places at once. So she's always looking for somebody to sit an open house, or, other agents as well. Feel free to reach out to people with listings on the market. I share the listings report every week of our active listings in our office. It can't hurt to, put yourself out there, go to an open house, pre-market it in the neighborhood. We have the door hangers here that you can, quickly go around the 15, 20 houses around the listing. It can't hurt to just throw your business card on a door hanger. Maybe somebody even opens the door, possibly. And also, obviously the social media posts and the email blasts as well. So there's a lot of things that you guys can be doing to get those listings. In addition to the listings we already have. So something new that corporate has come up with, the MTSs, myself included, are doing joint workshops. So our first one we're going to be doing is on Monday, the 18th, with Martin Luther King Day. It's going to be led by the MTS in the Westfield and Union offices, Doug Winstead. He's started about 2 weeks before I did. So he, and actually he was with Weicker previously as an agent and actually as a processor. So
in the Randolph office.
Yep, he knows his stuff. And the other MPSs also were going to be actually the subject changed. It's not the Cole Realty. It is from 9 a.m. to 10:15. They're going to be touching on the Cole Realty list, but they're also going to be focusing on doing email blasts through My Weicker. It is My Weicker based, because that is our main focus. The MTS's main focus is to get you guys ready and up and running on My Weicker, because we are using it pretty regularly now. So it's something that we're going to be working on. I think we're going to be having once a month a joint work, which is going to be good because there's going to be other offices involved. It's going to be a lot of good content if you guys want to come to that. It is Martin Luther King Day, so a lot of people will be working from home. I'm assuming a lot of kids are off. So let me know if you have any questions on that or anything else I could be helping you with. I am in the office 9 to 5 now every day. So feel free to knock on my door, stop by. I'm here. Call me for an appointment. I can still do a Zoom. Whatever you guys need, let me know. I'll be sending out a Zoom invite for the Monday workshop, probably Thursday or Friday this week. Do you guys have any questions on anything?
We never do.
Anything just out there that you might want to ask me about?
No, but remember, guys, real estate is technology driven. You need to know your technology. Schedule a one-on-one with Stephanie. A lot of people were getting a lot of great insight by doing that prior to the holidays. So it's time to get back on and make sure that you are scheduling time, whether it be via Zoom or live in person, every 2 weeks, once a month. Schedule an hour to sit down and make sure you're getting the most of what you have afforded to you here, and that you're making the most of technology, because we are in a technology world and you need to know it whether you want to or not. I mean, I understand we all push change, but it's something you need to really do and you really need to know and have. So
it's 11 o'clock.
What is the Cole Realty list, if it's a short enough explanation?
Yeah, sure. So the Cole Realty is actually a third-party vendor that Weicker has a contract with. It's a list service. I can show you where it is. It's in Weicker 1. And if you go into associate information, I think it's associate information.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, associate information, and you click on Cole Realty Resource. It opens up another tab, and you can actually do a search based on zip code, neighborhood. You can do median income. You can do, homeowners only. It's a list service with a really good. We're going to be going over it on Monday, I think, to a certain point. It's not 100%. It's not great. It's not the best thing in the world, but it is definitely a starting point. especially if you're trying to break into a new neighborhood, or for newer agents that don't have really a database. It's a good place to start. And what it does is spits out addresses, owner's name, which is better than sending to current resident. And in some cases, there's phone numbers and or email addresses as well. So it's possibly something that you might want to look into.
Right.
Thank you.
So these are the survey results for the survey. Thank you for those who participated. We had about 30 people participate. So question 1 was, what is your main business goals for 2021? Here's the answers. Now, we did have a little problem this time. The first time we did it so that we, when we did a survey a few months ago, we did it specifically so that we would not have who sent in the survey, right? We would not have that information, so that we felt that you'd be more honest and open if, you didn't have to put, or it wasn't shown to us who wrote the answer. This time we thought we could do it so that we would know who provided the answer, and also provided us with IP addresses. So if you are one of these people who did provide an answer, please just send me an email so I know who participated in this survey, because I am doing a gift card. So the only way I could do that is if I know who was in it. So I was going to pick that today, but unfortunately I was unable to. So if you did respond, I'm assuming everybody will be honest if they did or not. Please send me an email so I know. So these were the answers: prospecting, getting more business. Basically, what the majority of answers that the same answer that came through on this one was getting more listings. So everybody wants to get more listing leads. So how to obtain more listings, So that's something I'm going to be more proactive in putting together ways to do that moving forward in training. So that's what I was looking for. What can the support staff at Waker Corporate Headquarters Sales Office do to help you attain those goals? More trainings, more one-on-one options, weekly check-in phone calls from support staff, and then please explain. And then this is the below. So I think a lot of the, again, questions, the answers here were dialogue. More and more agents would like accountability, and dialogue were the #1 responses here. So again, thank you for letting me know. That's something that I really want to put together. So I know accountability in an office this big, I do set time aside with those agents who want to on a weekly basis. So there are agents who I do it with a weekly basis and every other weekly basis with, because they've specifically said, let's do it. We put it in the calendar and we meet that time, and they always are, they're always available during that time to do that. So I commit to them and they commit to me. So, both time it's for about 15 minutes. But I think something I can do also is do a small groups accountability. So if we have small groups that want to do accountability and small groups that want to do dialogue, we can do that together, again, via Zoom or in person, because we're doing small groups. And I'm going to put that out there so that we get a lot of that covered, if that's what you're looking for. And then third was, what type of additional trainings can Waker Corporate Headquarters Sales Office support staff offer to help you with your 2021 goals and your business overall? Please explain. And again, more people are looking for, I guess, what we would call the nuts and bolts. Okay. So I guess more GSMLS, DocuSign, Forms Online, those kind of trainings, as well as, what was the second thing? It was just in my head and now it's gone. Oh, just being more, I guess, because we offer so many options, people don't know what to choose or what to start with. So again, trying to filter that down with our yearly goal of making everything more simple, and making it simple for you guys so that it's not overwhelming. That's what we're going to push through. So tonight I do a training at 7 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and it is obviously a Zoom training. And I'm going through the 12 weeks of real estate. So I did that as 12 days of real estate back in December. It worked out really, really well. And it's activities that you need to do to be successful in real estate, broken down into a simple explanation of what you need to do. So again, if it's something that you're interested in getting it more broken down, please, obviously, join my 7 o'clock trainings on Wednesday night. So our local market absorption rate as of today, again, you can see in Marsh Plains, I believe last week there was 4 homes active. This week there's 6. And we're at 0.8 absorption rate. Parsippany is at 1.7. So 58 homes active and 33 under contract in the last 30 days. I mean, just unbelievable. Hanover's at 1.6. East Hanover spiked a little bit this week, but we see that once in a while. I'm sure it'll go down next week. Denville's at 1.6. Boonton Town 2.6. Morris Township spiked at 5.4. Randolph spiked last week and is down again. Montville 1.3 and Rockaway Township 1.3. So again, these absorption rates are unbelievably low, and we're still in an unbelievable market, and we're going to continue to move forward and such. So new listings on the market. Again, if you're on this call and you want to talk more about your listing, please feel free as I'm going through it. Gloria LaForgia has 127 Knoll Road in Parsippany for 1.250. I heard this is an outstanding, beautiful home. So obviously a great opportunity for all of you. Vin,
That was coming soon, Missy.
that is coming soon. That's why I haven't seen the photos yet. Yes, I've heard beautiful things about it though. 62 Mackenzie Lane in Denville, 650. This is at the Regency, the 55 and older community. Vin put this on last week and held an open house last weekend. So I believe he spoke about it more last week. And then Jackie has 11 River Road in Boonton Township for 525. So any other new listings that everybody has coming on, it's always good to share with the office. So we have an opportunity to share with our clients first, or any price changes or any rental listings coming up.
Is anybody from Jackie's office on? Is Jackie on?
I don't know. I actually haven't looked through
Okay, never mind.
my thing today.
I have a 2-bedroom at the Mountain Club rental coming out, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, 2nd floor unit. Owner pays half the commission. Price is $1,800. It's coming out next week.
Very nice.
Are you putting it on Zillow?
Good question, Deb.
Eventually.
You
But
should
I'm actually
make
taking
it an
professional
exclusive,
photos.
Ben. Let's make it exclusive.
I'm actually taking professional photos this year for all my rentals. So it rents quicker.
Yep, you have to have a business plan and you have to follow through consistency with all of your business. That's how it should be. Anyone else have anything new coming on?
I have a couple that are not coming. They're coming on in about a month.
Okay.
There's one in Mount Olive in the Flanders Crossing development, and price point's probably going to be about 5. And I have one in Sparta that's coming. That's probably going to be under 4. So hopefully the Sparta is going to be on by the end of the month, and the other one is going to be Valentine's Day weekend.
So that was Cheryl Towie. She has 2 coming on. So if you have anyone looking, any buyers looking in the Mount Olive area, Flanders Crossing, about 500,000, or Sparta, right under 4, reach out to Cheryl to get more information for your client. So remember, guys, this year is a gift, and possibly the following year too, 2022. So especially if you're in real estate, so take advantage of it. Make sure you're doing the daily activities you need to do to be successful. 1 call a day if you're not making any calls, and add 1 call to your daily calls if you are consistently making calls. It's the way to grow your business, right? FSBOs, expireds, anything that you can do, calling around neighborhoods. If you have buyers specifically looking there, be proactive. Don't be someone who sits around waiting for it to come on GSMLS. Make sure you're reaching out, making sure you're getting, setting expectations and being the exception for your clients by going out there and looking for the business or the homes that they're looking for. So if no one has anything else to share, then I will see you hopefully at the call session tomorrow morning between 10:30 and 12:30. I have a training on Friday now. I do it at 12:30 as a lunch and learn for anyone who works during the day. Hopefully they have the opportunity to join. And it's in reference to open houses, so we can build up our open house conversion. Or I will see you, hopefully in the office. It's very quiet here, guys. Can't wait till can't wait till we get back to normal at some point, but thank you for joining.
Talk louder.
All right, Missy, thanks.
Bye, Missy. Thanks.
See you soon.
Thank you, Missy. See you later.
Bye.